Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. You hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand for a new heaven, a new earth. Show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. Oh, it's happened with my family. I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me, think I'll be gone home. Yeah, Israel is calling us back home to Zion. I'm on my knees. I lay down my life. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shia, along with Elder Lawyer of the Gathering of Christ Church. Yes, yes, yes. I would like to say Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers and sisters who are present and those who aren't. To the brothers and sisters throughout the earth, Shabbat Shalom. I'm glad you're able to join us here this morning. Now, before we go into the lesson, let's first do the Hebrew Shemai.
Yes, sir. Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Yeah, come on in. Someone says there's an echo. Let's see here. Well, there shouldn't be an echo. Everything should be fine. Is the sound good here or not? Let's make sure the sound is good before we begin, because yes, we do have a new mic. So okay, good. All right, that's fine. All right, no echo, because we do have a new microphone. Want to make sure everything is fine here before we use it in the academy tomorrow. Okay, that's fine. That means whoever had an echo, it means that something is going on with your computer. All right, I hope you get that fixed. Let's jump right in. All right, you see the lesson today. I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, a lot of you, all of you, I hope, but you're going to be glad you were here for this lesson today. I believe that this will help us understand ourselves, human nature, and give us the tools to overcome it. Okay? As you can see, the title, Overcoming the Demon Within. Overcoming the Demon Within. Yesterday, and thank you for all the Patreon members who were there. Segueing, or I transitioned from our update from A Gathering 144, the main channel, over to our Patreon members where I went into their opening. Listen to this clear. They're opening the gates of hell. They're opening the gates of hell. All right. And I showed how Megan Fox, an actress, Megan Fox was on she was on some show that Arsenio Hall was hosting. Okay. The Jimmy Kimmel show. I think he plugged in for Jimmy Kimmel. And during that, she talked about this ritual they had in the jungle while filming a film. Okay, while videoing a film that's up and coming. Okay? She spoke about using certain drugs and certain things, and it opened her up to where she was able to interact in another realm. Hell. Okay? We also discussed the rapper, the Astro World rapper. What's his name again?
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott, and how the ritualistic concert that he was a part of, and how many there witnessed something happening, a phenomenon where something opened up and people just started dying and falling all over the place. Okay? And it seems within the last 2 years, even our loved ones, those that are close to us, and those, it seems like death has been in the mouths of everyone since this whole campaign began with so-called COVID or whatever. For the last 2 years, death toll, death. As if a portal of hell has been opened into earth. Well, I went into that for a few hours yesterday, but I really wanted to highlight the nature that's in us that allow these spirits to attack, which leads to death. It's one thing that's what Satan is doing. But understand, brothers and sisters, Satan and his spirits, his ranking spirits under him, have no power outside of what we yield to him through sin. So if we can understand that nature, that will allow us to put on the full armor of the Almighty and battle. Understanding that what? We wrestle not with flesh and blood, It's the unseen that's warring against our people, picking us off one at a time. One at a time. So how does Satan do it? Well, the way he does it is this. He's able to operate through division. This is how he operates. He must do what? He must separate us from any hedge or protection, spiritual or physical. He must get us alone. And once we are alone, this is where he works his demonic imposition against individuals. And through that, once we feel alone, the defense mechanism comes up and we begin to do what? Battle those who are around us. Fight those who are around us in the defense posture, believing that no one else in the earth understand what we're going through. Right?
That's right.
Now it seems as if we're protecting ourselves, but really it's leaving us vulnerable. So these are the tactics that happens. So we have to isolate on the spirit of division and how that cause and effect allows Satan in to do what? To destroy, attack, and bring death, to pull souls down into hell, which is what? His singular objective against the image of God. How do we war? What did the Most High give us to war? When we recognize that there's a demon within, how do we overcome that demon and not let it what? Drag us into Hades. Now, many lessons I went into where even outside of the academy, I taught here too, how after Noah and his sons and his family were saved through the flood and began to multiply, that demons began to make the population of Noah's sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, sick. There was an attack to make the population of earth, the people on earth, sick. See? Because sickness leads to death. So anytime you hear on TV the pharmaceuticals talking about cancer, this, that, and the other, understand, folks, it's the same modus operandi that happened after the flood. It's getting mankind, who was meant to be immortal, folks. We were meant to live forever. What they're actually doing is what? Desensitizing us and programming us to accept or to believe that premature death is what? Normal. Okay? Cancer, this, that, and the other. This is a campaign, folks, against what? Life. So I have to go into the nature to show you that it's the nature that leads to death. And we must overcome that demon within, who would have the propensity to listen or to follow some of this evil because something is in the people to accept it. Something is already in the people to accept death. This is why they can sell it like a McDonald's commercial now.
That's right.
They can sell it through propagandized commercials now because it's something in people that draws them to death. So it doesn't have to make sense what's going on right now, folks. But it makes a lot of sense if you understand Scripture. If you understand the past. And what? The spiritual battles our forefathers fought before the fall. So it's our position in the Spirit of Christ to introduce to you and give you an insight into the unseen. into the unseen to understand the demon within. Okay? Now tomorrow I'll be going into what? The promised seed, but I'm going to be also showing the Satan seed, the Amorites, on this side of the flood. Their true religion, the whole thing I'll be going into tomorrow, transitioning right from Patreon till today into the academy tomorrow to show you how this battle that started in the spirit became physical. And folks, the battle right now we're going through with the sicknesses and all of that thing out there, it will lead to a physical battle on earth. There's nothing new under the sun. It happened back then and it's going to happen. And only a remnant of people, only a small remnant of people will make it through this time. Right? I talked about the demons who began to attack the children of Noah, Ham, Shem, Japheth. So let's go into the nature of spirits. Where did demons come from? And then I'm gonna move this all the way up into Christ and how he battled spirits and taught the disciples how to do so. But you cannot understand how to cast out demons if you don't know their primal origin and purpose. Right? So let's go to the origin of demons. Now the origin of demons is written in the book of Enoch. Now in the book of Enoch, it expressly breaks down that these spirits or these beings didn't come from the original creation through Adam and Eve. They didn't come through Adam and Eve. They came through disobedient angels who eventually were called gods on earth. And they brought forth children. Now, by bringing forth children or giants or Nephilim, there was no plan long term, no eternal plan in heaven for these particular children. So once they die off, there must be some place for them, right? Once they die off, well, no, there is no place for them because the Most High in creation didn't make a place for hybrids. These particular spirits, that's right, would eventually on our side of the flood become demons. They would become demons. And that's the origin of demonology. I know it's scary, and I know a lot of people wonder, well, where did they come from and all that? You're getting that. Those in the academy, and those who've been teaching us, learning from us for a while, you understand the true spiritual battle. Okay? Now, a lot of people out there don't want to go and actually meticulously learn or understand this. Why? Because this takes away what? This takes away your need and your want to attack someone based on how they look or their race. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. So if we wrestle not with flesh and blood, how can we say that the white man is responsible for all evil? And how does that make any sense when there's nothing but chaos going on in our vicinities, in our communities, with hardly no white people there? The influence of evil is a spirit. Not to say that the white man isn't ruling, or yes, he may be cultivating and incentivizing the evil, but the evil is an unseen that must be recognized.
It predates the white man.
It predates evil. Thank you. Evil predates the white man. Great point, Elder Lawyer. So let's jump right in. The origin of, you got it, evil spirits. Now, Elder, before we go there,
Yes, sir.
I need you to go to the book of Jude, one small book before the Bible. I mean, before the book of Revelation, excuse me.
Yes, sir. Book of Jude, chapter 1, verse number 13.
Read it.
Raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame.
Excuse me, do me a favor. Y'all need to hit the button for me so that we can drive this. A lot of our brothers and sisters need to hear this. All right? They really need to hear this. So I need y'all to help us out here real quick. Read it again, Elder Lawyer, chapter and verse.
Jude 1 and 13. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
Wandering stars. Who what?
Out of whom is reserved, or to whom is reserved, the blackness of darkness forever.
The blackness and darkness forever. Right? Now I need y'all to hear this clearly. Wandering stars are angels who wandered down to this realm. The Bible speaks of this. A matter of fact, for those who look at movies, like a lot of Denzel movies and other movies, you see Paramount, where the stars come and settle on Mount Hermon, on the Paramount. Hollywood worship these fallen stars. So when it says wandering stars, it ain't just not talking about stars in the sky. Stars, what we call stars or lights, are angels. So the Bible, Jude, the New Testament, highlights the fact that stars or angels wandered to this plane, earth. Read.
Verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
So obviously, the disciples had the record of Enoch. This particular verse is almost verbatim in the original first book of Enoch that was sealed in what? You got it. In the earth by the sons of Zadok, the Levites, whom this world call Essenes. The historians coins them Essenes based on their activity and how they lived like monks. But these were sons of Aaron. These were sons of Aaron, brothers and sisters, listen to me clearly, who escaped Babylon and ran from the Romans so that they can eventually ran from the Romans down in time to preserve the records that we are reading today. They found much of the Old Testament in earthy pots, as well as the book of Enoch. And this is why it tells us in the book of Revelation that at the very end, the earth would help the woman to swallow up the flood that came from the serpent, to swallow the lies that come with Christian philosophy, Arab philosophy. It's the book of Enoch that brings into full spectrum the true doctrine concerning good and evil and how to actually battle against it. The disciples had this information. See? Now you have others out there who know they're Israel and everything else, but they don't follow the New Testament, so they'll never understand spiritual battles, the origin of evil. But you know what? If they follow the commandments, that's what the Most High given them, and that's all they can teach, then that's good. That's their lot. Okay? This is not casting no aspersions against them, but they're not in any position to say that the book of Enoch isn't correct. It's out of their wheelhouse. Their teachers didn't show them. Okay? Now, since we know that Enoch left a testimony, let's read that in the book of Hebrews.
Yes, sir. Book of Hebrews 11, verse number 5.
Read it.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death.
He was translated that he should not see death, which means what? He was changed. He was moved from the terrestrial to the celestial to stand before the throne of the Almighty. That's right. And it's written in the New Testament. This is the change that would happen for those who are in Christ upon his arrival. The second time. The change. The mortal changed immortal. It happened to Enoch before the flood. Now, you cannot read this anywhere in detail concerning this man's life, who was really, he was the most righteous man on that side of the flood. Enoch was the most righteous. Enoch the righteous. But you cannot find his stories in detail within the Bible itself, because the Roman Catholic Church and others don't want you to understand that the candles they are lighting to their saints are really the fallen angels, the wandering stars that came to earth. These are the true leaders of this world, whether you want to accept it or not. Okay? Read.
Hebrews 11, verse 5. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony.
He had this what?
He had this testimony.
He had this testimony, read.
That he pleased God.
That he pleased the Most High. That he pleased the Most High. I wonder, do they see those cameras there? 1 second, folks. 1 second. 1 second. Somebody hit the like button real quick.
All right, at this time, if you all can hit the like button. All right, for those who are here for the first time, you can subscribe, as well as share this video, share this information. We want to make sure this gets to as many people as possible.
Yeah, Shalom. I think I can see the camera.
All right.
All right, we're going to use this one. We'll just use this until we fix whatever the audio is. All right? All right, Elder Lawyer, do it again. Verse
Yes, sir.
again.
Hebrews 11 verse 5.
Hebrews 11 and 5. Come on.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death.
He was what?
Was translated that he should not see death, and was not found because God had translated him.
Read it again.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death,
That he should not see death. Come on.
and was not found because God had translated him.
Because God had translated Enoch. Why? He brought Enoch before the throne to judge the evil on earth. To judge the wandering stars who came down into earth and who began to, with the daughters of Cain, have children, only to create animals and all these things that began to attack the sons and daughters of Seth. Hence the reason why the Most High did what? You got it. Told Noah to build refuge, an ark. So when the Most High brought Enoch up, he showed Enoch what would happen to the children that came from disobedience. And let's go to the book of Enoch now.
Enoch 15 verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, and I heard his voice, Fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice, and go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to intercede for them, you should intercede for men, and not men for you.
Read it again.
It says, and go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to intercede for them, you should intercede for men, and not men for you.
He says, he told the watchers, hey, I sent you to minister unto men. Now, when the angels see Enoch on earth, because angels take on the form of men, they ask Enoch and petition Enoch that when he pray to the Father to allow them entry back into the heavenly realm. Okay? This is what they asked Enoch. They knew he was the righteous on earth. They watched him from heaven. So when they realize, brothers and sisters, that their actions would cause much chaos, and they finally realized that the evil was irreversible, darkness covered them, guilt covered them. The same as when we do an action that we know is uncomely or it's against the Almighty, darkness comes. Our hearts get heavy. We feel guilt. So they realized that what they did in earth was irreversible, and asked Enoch to go to the Father, pray to the Father, to forgive and allow them back entry. But guess what, brothers and sisters? It was too late. The children produced from the evil were already destroying mankind. See? Finish reading.
Wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women,
Come on.
and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of the earth, and begotten giants as your sons. Though you were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life.
And they begot what?
It says, and begotten giants as your sons.
And begotten giants as your sons. New beings, mutants, hybrids. See? Mutants. Now, how do you know this links flawlessly with the time, during the time that the Most High told Noah to build an ark? How do you know this fits flawlessly like this? Read that last piece again, Elder Lawyer.
It says, wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and have taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of the earth, and begotten giants as your sons.
And begotten giants as your sons. That's right. tall beings. And I'm going into that tomorrow to prove that even when the Indians came into America, the giants were here also on this side of creation. I'm going into that tomorrow. Nephilim. Now, how do you know this flawlessly links with the Bible? Hold that, Elder Lloyd, and get Genesis 6, where it says there were giants in the earth in those days.
Book of Genesis chapter 6, verse number 4.
Read.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare them children, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
Men of renown. So they were men formed, but they were a product of celestial and terrestrial. Hybrid beings. Now the Most High had no place for these spirits, brothers and sisters. So now before the judgment through Enoch, he's going to state, that's right, the children's, those Nephilim, those giants, future. What happens after death with these giants or beings? Because there's a place for people. It's called the bosom of Abraham. There's a place to hold us until our change after death on earth. But not these particular spirits. They don't have a place of quiet because they didn't come from the throne. They were made down here. Satan's seed. And Satan's seeds continue till this day. But the Most High didn't have a place originally in creation for these beings. They're spirits. So what did the Most High say would happen to them? Let's go straight to it, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. Enoch 15, verse 8. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits on the earth.
They shall be called what?
Evil spirits on the earth.
Evil spirits on the earth.
And on the earth shall be their dwelling.
And on the earth shall be their dwelling. Read.
Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men and from the holy watchers, is their beginning and primal origin.
Come on.
They shall be evil spirits on earth.
They came from the what?
It says evil spirits have proceeded from the bodies, from both, or it says here, let me get it here. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies because they are born from men and from the holy watchers.
And from the holy watchers, angels.
Is their beginning and primal origin.
Is their beginning and primal origin. Read.
Verse 10, they shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called.
Come on.
And as for the spirits of heaven, in heaven is their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which are born upon the earth, shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble,
and causes trouble.
They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses.
They do what? They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and do what?
And cause offenses.
And cause offenses. See, when you go into that word familiar spirit and those who have familiar spirits, these are the people who can link into the demon that's within people if you are subjected to sin. There's a connection they can have because it's related to their brothers. The demons know one another. See? So if a demon is in a person, those that have familiar spirits and deal with all these other things can do what? They can actually, that's right, connect with the person that's holding demons. Right? Now, hey, listen to what I'm saying, folks. So there's certain things that allow these spirits to keep hosts, to keep people. Certain things. So they had to set up a society or a system that will allow these spirits, hosts, people they can use for bodies, since there's no bodies, since they no longer have one. Now, how does a demon keep a spirit? Keep a person. This is how it keeps a person. If this person is always in spats, arguments, fights, and is alone, this is how the spirit keeps the person. See? It attack, it do battle in fear that they will lose that host. It have to run other people away. It must run other people away, because suppose one of Christ comes amongst them and recognize that that person has a demon and have the power to cast it out. So this spirit attack and do battle for what? This is the way demons deal with self-preservation, especially if they have a host or a person who feeds their insatiable appetite. See? Because it stays hungry. So you can immediately recognize a demon from a person with gluttony, who will overeat to the point of unhealthy. That's a demon. And it's not about shaming, it's not about attacking. The reason why the person feel attacked or shamed when it's being recognized is not because they don't know that they're unhealthy, or they're not ashamed because you're saying it, because everyone can see it. It's the demon upset. It's the demon in the person. It's saying, well, listen, if this person hear or listen or start listening to others, they're going to stop eating like they used to. And I'm not going to have a body, because they're insatiable. So the system set up what? An advertisement, so that no matter where you go, the thought of food and eating and consuming is on the mind. That's just one faction of the demon. That's just one so-called, what you would call nature of a demon. It loves to eat. That's number one. And this is why Christ, I'm going to show you, talked about fasting, praying, and all these things. Right? When a demon gets hold, it loves to eat. It's insatiable. It loves to do what? Uses the body of a person. This is what it does. It's called demon possession. That's what it's called. But to the spirits, it's just of them, they want hosts. They need something to go into to satisfy their nature, their evil nature. They'll attack, they'll do battle, they always have an attitude, they always have issues, it's always a problem, and folks be looking at the person and not realizing the real person is in bonds in that body. The real person is screaming for help, but is being silenced in that body. See? So what spirits do, they love attacks. They love the conflict. They love the argument. Because eventually a person is going to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm out of here. And now the demon or the Nephilim has that person for themselves. Read it again, Elder Lawyer.
And it says, "And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, do battle, and work destruction on the earth,
And work destruction on the earth.
and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst,
Come on.
and cause offenses.
And cause offenses. Read.
And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men,
These spirits shall rise up against the children of men. Listen.
and against the women,
And against the women,
because they have proceeded from them."
because they proceeded from them. See? So now, these spirits can actually jump into any animal, to tell you the truth, temporarily. But their objective is to get a person. Now, when you go into Enoch, it tells us that Enoch had, when you go into the book of, Jubilees, another book of Moses, it teaches us that what? Even after the flood, brothers and sisters, these spirits, once the water subsided, began to attack the children of Noah with sicknesses. Now, why sicknesses? Because sicknesses not only lowers your physical body, it also dims the spirit and gives demons access. Hence the reason why we're living in a system where no children can go to school or anything unless some substance, some altering substance, unless some altering substance is accepted for our children. See? Because these are priming the body for what? The spirits to be accepted later. See? This is how demons get hosts. And this is why the disciples wrote, listen, we wrestle not with flesh and blood. Principalities and powers, the workers, and these workers, these evildoers working in what? Dark places, high places. Listen to me clearly, folks. Now, we understand the origin of spirits and what their objectives are. To get into us and cause attacks, battles, to divide us and keep us for themselves, to eventually what? Drag our souls into their judgment. That's their objective. They don't know anything else. They were created to do just what they do. You got it? So now we understand the unseen of the spirits that are against us, that are under the ranking power of Satan, or another name they call him, Mastema, Samuel, or the devil. He has many names. Our God has one. Right? So listen to this, brothers and sisters. So now, Satan can utilize these spirits only if we yield our spirits or open a spiritual door that will allow them in. One door that allows them in is when our children have to go to school or have to go someplace and they say, well, you have to get a medical condition to get something in your child before we can allow them in here. Okay, that's pharmakeia. That's sorcery. That's opening your child a doorway for spirits. That's one way. That's the drug way. But sin in of itself has always been the door for demons to take hold of a person. So we understand the spiritual realm and what's waiting or hovering in the darkness, waiting for disobedience. So you understand that now. But let's now link into the nature that they actually connect with. That they connect with within our being. Okay? There's a nature within our being, folks, that they seek and search out. See? And once they connect with that, this is also a doorway for the demon to get in, even if it's for a moment. Now I'm going to tell you, some people are too strong for demons to stay in long term. They're just too spiritually strong. When I say spiritually strong, you could have a person who prays, who do what's right, who's hedged by the Almighty, and they know that, guess what? This person, even though this person have good days and bad days, this person is protected by the Most High. So they know sometimes there's people they can't stay in long. See? They just need a moment. So So they'll watch you. And what they'll do is they'll wait until your guards are down. Usually in a time where there's an emotional opening, where you're weak emotionally. Another way they get in. You're crying, you're upset, because they can relate to that. That's a familiar spirit. Anger. That's familiar. They can relate to that. Now, they cannot stay in the body long, but because you're angry and they can relate to it, they can jump in real quick because a door was open. And during that moment is where they'll work. During the time of sorrow or anger, somebody may die in that moment. And it's the demon sitting there with the knife, with your body, doing all types of stuff. And then they'll leave out. They'll move out the way. And you sitting there like, what did I do? What did I do? Because they can't keep the body, but they seized a moment. A moment was seized. Where even if they can't stay in a person who eats all the time and just subjected to sin and just overcome by sin, guess what? These demons know how to seize moments when our guards are down. And next thing you know, you're sitting there and the cops are coming and there's blood all over you. Like, what's going on here? It got you in the moment because yes, right. There was something familiar in you because in your heart, you wanted someone hurt. You wanted someone killed. I need vengeance. And you know what? It's something that these demons could relate with. They attack. They do battle. So in that understanding, in that relationship or relating to that spirit, they enter. Or you might say something that you shouldn't have said. You may have thought it many days. And in that moment of weakness, you say something that'll tear someone asunder. Knowing that person's weakness. This is how they do it. Because eventually they want you by yourself. Oh, you got something, Brother Lloyd?
Yes, sir.
Let's read it.
Matthew 16:21.
Come on.
From that time forth began Yeshua to show his disciples how he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed and be raised again the third day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but of those that be of men.
Man, I'm glad you brought that out. A perfect example. How during a time of over emotion, with Peter realizing that Christ would be taken from him. Right? Now, it seemed like he was justified in not wanting Christ to die. He wanted to protect Christ. And Christ knew that Satan entered him during that time of over emotion. See? You can have a care for someone and have the right. You can have that person's best interest at heart and still be used by Satan. Over emotional, not temperate. See? Not temperate. Right? Because he understood, Christ taught him what must happen. He was preparing Peter for that moment when Christ would no longer be amongst us. He says, no, Peter, it's your turn. Learn. My lot on this earth will be put on you, and through this rock, my church will sustain the gates of hell. Get behind me, Satan. But he wasn't even talking to Peter. He knew Satan took an occasion in Peter The man Christ was going to use to bring forth this ministry. His ministry. So you can have someone's best interest at heart and being over emotional, still used for Satan. Temperance. We're going to go into that today. Now you understand how you have orbiting demons waiting for moments to intrude, to come in. Now let's deal with the nature these spirits agree in that's within all of us. The demon within. The spirit that works against us. Elder Lawyer, let's go to Genesis 3.
Genesis chapter 3.
Go straight to the tree of good and evil, where the serpent is talking to Eve. And again, let me make it clear. The serpent isn't the white man. The serpent isn't a snake. The serpent is a falling spirit. Satan. Another name for him is Samael. He was amongst the cherubim and the seraphim. When you look at the word seraphim, a ranking angel in heaven, that's where the word serpent comes from. Seraph, the word serpent comes from seraph. The seraphim are the what? The fiery serpents, or the angels that are before the stones of fire in heaven. So again, you have a lot of people who don't understand, and they'll try to ridicule the Bible, claiming that a snake in of itself was talking to Adam and Eve, not realizing scripture. So these are unlearned people. These are unlearned people. We break it all in the academy. We break it down on a scholarly level, but to a degree that every person can understand it. When you go into the Hebrew and the Greek and all that, it'll let you know what was originally there. And we can show you the heavenly realm to give you what? Full disclosure, full understanding in context. This was a fallen spirit talking to Adam and Eve. Okay? And guess what? Angels can turn into anything in this earth, including serpents. So even if it was the appearance of a serpent, we understood the spirit that was in it. The fallen one. See? The same way when Christ, example you gave, when Christ talked to Peter and says, "Get thee behind me, Satan." He was speaking to Peter. But who overcame Peter's vessel in that moment? Was that the serpent? Was that Satan? Even though it was Peter's body? So I'm giving you full disclosure, full understanding of how to understand these scriptures. And we have somebody come with some nonsense about somebody speaking with snakes, realize that they're not even on the level to actually to receive the understanding. And 9 times out of 10, that's a demon speaking to them saying that. Okay. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Book of Genesis chapter 3, verse number 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made.
Come on.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, and but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Lest ye die, come on.
And the serpent said unto the woman, Yea, ye shall not surely die, for God doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Knowing what?
Knowing good and evil.
So, brothers and sisters, if nothing happened before Adam and Eve, if no evil happened before this, how was there a tree of good and evil? What is evil? What is the knowledge of evil if evil didn't produce itself before Adam and Eve was made? What evil happened, folks? If you're going to make a tree from good and evil, obviously evil happened. It must have came into existence somewhere. Okay? That's right. Fallen ones, disobedient ones of the celestial realm did evil against celestial law. You think the Most High is only going to have law here? There's total order and law in heaven. So, eventually Eve took of this substance, the equivalent to a lot of drugs you see today that opens people up to different realms and ideas, not realizing that these are just variants from the tree of good and evil. Pharmaceuticals have industrialized the tree of good and evil. Now I need you to hold that and let's give the essence of what this particular fruit produces. Read it.
Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desired to make one wise.
To make one wise, to give you wisdom, understanding into good and evil. See? It takes away the purity. And it makes one wise, folks. And I'm going to show it stimulates the senses. Your senses, your taste, what you see, what you feel. Let's just call it human nature. And through this, it heightens the pursuit for personal pleasure and personal gratification. See? It heightens the senses, which is human nature, to give the pursuit of personal pleasure and personal gratification. It's about self-satisfaction only. First. See? Read.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desired to make one wise.
To make one wise.
She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat.
Go ahead.
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
Now people may ask, well, why did he listen? Well, let's put it this way. At this point, she was more educated. Let's put it that way. Adam had no knowledge of evil. But her eyes were open to see more than him. And by de facto, being that she had more knowledge, there was a changing of position. She gained authority. It was her authority and knowing both that's right, that convinced her husband to follow. See? She had the knowledge. And it's no wonder when we look at the roles even in college today, and you look at the when you look at the disparity of those that are in college, when you look at men and women, right? Because you need a controlling faction, controlling the earth, who do what? And it's not their fault, who run their logic through emotion. This spirit, whatever, guess what? She was excited about it. Why? Because it wasn't all bad, folks. It wasn't all bad. She went through the garden, she tasted the fruit, and the fruit tastes better. When she felt her whole senses, it was like, yo, Adam, you have to try this. You have to try this, Adam. It's like the same time, like, yo, when someone took a drug for the first time, I'm like, yo, man, you gotta try this. And then they'll give it to the person and that first high. And they'll always chase that first high. Well, folks, this was the first high for mankind. It wasn't all bad. Everything in the earth felt better, tasted better, it looked better. They understood everything. And they understood the evil that happened before what? Before man. They knew about the fall. They knew about the heavens, everything. Everything that Satan taught them everything. But it came with a cost. Because this produced something genetically within mankind that what? That we would all suffer with. That's right. A new genetic default that's in the children of Adam and Eve. Elder, let's go to let's go to 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha.
2nd Esdras chapter 3, verse number 16.
Come on. And let me tell you, I'm not one who would minimize education. I believe that one should be educated. But I know what's in those philosophical schools of thought. I'm able to go into a school and get educated and get what I need from it without being what? Influenced into the different ideologies. That's the evil that's within these colleges. Right? So you go into school with a purpose of what you want to get out of it without the influence, because there's good and evil there. So when I speak of colleges, I know sometimes y'all hear me, y'all think I'm speaking negative and saying people shouldn't go to college. No. I believe education is key. At minimum, to have the knowledge of what they're doing up in there so that you can actually do what? Build a resistance spiritually against it to show others, to highlight the real spirit behind these colleges. Okay? So again, I don't have no problem. I love education. Let's make it clear. But it depends on what you're getting educated for. Huh? Or are you getting educated to leverage yourself? To now hope that others value that education like you do? Or are you going to learn to add to your knowledge with the Most High? Use the knowledge in there to help your people and to help the foundation spiritually you're brought up under. So it depends on what you're going to school for. If you're going to get status or leverage up, then you're wasting your time. Okay? You're wasting your time. Anything that we receive in this world is supposed to be for a purpose that starts with the Most High and our nation. And it should benefit our families first. And we're going there specifically for that. Okay? Let me make it clear. All right? Let's see what was in the substance, Elder Lawyer, real quick. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 3 and let's start where the Most High brought the law through 4 gates.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, or 2nd Esdras 3 and 16. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and put by Esau, and so Jacob became a great multitude. And it came to pass, when thou leddest thy seed, or leddest his seed out of Egypt, thou broughtest them up to the Mount Sinai. And bowing the heavens, Thou didst set fast the earth, movest the whole world, and made the depths to tremble, and tremblest the men of that age. And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that thou mightest give the law to the seed of Jacob.
Now you can close your eyes and actually visualize the Most High bringing what? The law through 4 separate gates on Mount Sinai before Moses. This is how Moses received the law. The law, statutes, and commandments are celestial laws given to earth, folks. Do's and don'ts. And what the Most High sent was really, folks, an antidote against what? You got it. The tree of good and evil. It was the antidote to that tree. I'm going to show you. Keep in mind, the antidote that the Most High gave Israel through that law was the power of no. The tree of good and evil, yes, 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 yes. Everything satisfies myself. Everything is about me, yes. And what the Most High did with the law is give us the power of no. Thou shalt not do this. Thou shalt not. That means when you're faced with the evil, the answer is no. Because with Satan, it's do as thou wilt. Do as thou wilt was what? Was one of the ingredients in the tree of good and evil. That he don't want you to know how this feels. He don't want you to know, he don't really want you to know how this tastes. He's trying to hold you back from your inhibitions, from your desires. So through those 4 gates from heaven into this realm came the power of no. Right? The antidote. Listen clearly now. Because why? When you say no, the demons cannot enter. All the demons and the origin of demons that we broke down, no, they cannot enter. So it's like Satan is sitting there with our law, like a manual saying, okay, thou shalt not, and saying, well, listen, let's write a book in opposite of God's law and say, yes, you can break the Sabbath. Yes, you can commit adultery. Yes, you can bear false witness. Yes, 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 yes. And let's make a whole society off of yes. Founded on yes. Right? Yes, you can bear false witness. There's no consequences. Say what you want to say about a person, knowing that you're straight lying, there's no consequences. Yes, you can do that. But by doing that, a door opens. And one of those guys say, okay, thank you. Thanks for your body. You won't be needing this. See? Finish reading. Let's see what happened there. Come on.
And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold,
Yep.
that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob.
That thy may give the law to the seed of Jacob. Now this would eventually fix the earth. A celestial law. Read.
And diligence unto the generation of Israel.
And generation unto the what?
And diligence.
And diligence.
Unto the generation of Israel.
And that's the key. Being diligent with this. The antidote against the tree of good and evil, which is the modern day, that spirit of what? Kabbalah, that's controlled by the evildoers. Diligence is what? Following the laws, statutes, and commandments and having that before decision. See? Diligence. Read.
Verse 20. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart,
He didn't take away the wicked heart. Now, what is this wicked heart? Read.
that thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
Come on.
For the first Adam bearing a wicked heart transgressed and was overcome. And so be all they that are born of him.
So be all they that are born of him. There's a birth defect. There's a genetic defect that started with the sin of Adam and Eve. Now, what's in this defect? What is it? Read.
22. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root,
It's a malignant root. Read.
so that the good departed away,
The good departs away,
and the evil abode still.
and the evil abode still. That means the actions that we actually do in this earth, it tells us that what happens is if we continue to do evil, the good departs away. It's to a degree where, you know what? It's okay. There's nothing wrong with this. I did it and nothing happened. See? But your conscience is dulling. Your light is going out. So you will do it to the degree where it becomes normalized. And then, after that, you begin to own that as you being unique. Well, this is what makes me. I'm different. And then try to impose that on others and expect others to accept it. I don't have to accept you like you. You don't have to accept me like me. That's some garbage that happened here in this world. There's a moral line according to the diligence of the Bible and the law, statutes, and commandments concerning who you would let in your circle. Based on what? Based on their morality or lack thereof. I don't have to. You have these people come around saying all types of crap and saying, well, this is where I've always been. And
Right.
John was crying in the wilderness when he came to teach, to pave the way for Christ. Repent, repent, repent. No one has to accept any of us the way we are.
That's right.
Oh yeah, maybe it's, you should have more tolerance. Right? Tolerance. That means what? I must accept something that I would normally reject? No. No, thank you. I don't have no tolerance for that. Accepting wickedness and evil. So it tell you that what's in this fruit, you know what's in that fruit of good and evil, folks? Read it again, Elder Lawyer, that last piece.
Yes, sir. Verse number 20. And yet thou tookest not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
Come on.
For the first Adam bearing a wicked heart,
Bearing a what? Wicked heart.
transgressed,
Come on.
and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him.
Come on.
Thus infirmity was made permanent,
So the infirmity is made permanent.
and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away.
The good departeth away. This is what this fruit does. The good departeth away,
And the evil abode still.
and the evil abode still. That's exactly what this fruit does. Right? Now, Elder Lawyer, I need you to go to, because we're really going to jump into this now. Let's go to 2 Esdras 4 and 22. I'm going to read that one all the way down to the 42nd verse. Let me move Enoch out of your way here. You don't need that.
2 Ezra 4 and 22. Then answered I and said, I beseech thee, O Lord, let me have understanding. For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen, and for what cause the people whom thou lovest is given over unto a ungodly nation.
So Esdras, the prophet Esdras, is saying is really what he's doing here is trying to reason and get some understanding on how our God, the God of Israel who gave us the law, is allowing these Gentile nations to ravish us, to destroy us, to harm us. Why would you give us over to such an evil people who have evil intentions against us? So even the prophets of old, brothers and sisters, had the same questions a lot of us grew up with. I grew up in a house where everyone was talking about civil rights, Martin Luther King, our people being hung, our people being incarcerated. Have those conversations changed? We're still talking about inequality, needing justice. Why are our people in jail? Why they got to single us out? The prophets had those same issues and same concerns for our people. See? And saying, well, why are you allowing this? What can we do? Right? Finish reading.
For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, wherefore Israel is given as a reproach to the heathen, and for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations, and why the law of our forefathers is brought to naught.
Why is the law of our forefathers are brought to naught? All of our children are given over to these wicked nations who are imposing all these evil laws and destruction on our children. The disciples had the same issues. I mean, the prophets of old, brothers and sisters, had these same issues and begged the Most High for understanding concerning these issues. Tell me we're not the people. How is it that they're doing everything to stop us from following your law? You know why? Because that law is the antidote to the tree of good and evil. It doesn't allow demons to have access to us, to our families, our children. It gives us the power of no. That's why. They don't want the law taught in America or in the Western world. Because automatically when we begin to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of God, the angels protect us. They hedge us. The door is closed. See? Come on, other Lord.
And the written covenants come to none effect. And we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear. And we are not worthy to obtain mercy. What will he then do unto us, or unto his name, whereby we are called? Of these things have I asked. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel.
He say, the more you search, Ezra, the more you will marvel. And you know what? I had a vested interest into these answers after reading this. The first time I read and Ezra had these questions, I said to myself, you know what? I've always had these same exact questions. So there was a vested interest into hearing how the Most High would answer him. How is it we're the chosen people of God, receive the commandments, and here it is, we're on the bottom. Everyone else seems like they're not following anything and are grandizing themselves and are becoming greater than our people. A God of love, the God who chose us. Why are you allowing this to happen? I had a vested interest when I first read this. I'm like, yeah, I want to know too. Right? Read.
For the world hasteth fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities.
He says it's the outlook of the people. The Most High is breaking this down. Okay? The Most High is breaking this down. the people's outlook has been changed. That's why they're thinking like that. That's why you're viewing it this way, Ezra. Read that again.
And it says, verse 27, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time. In fact, I'll read 26.
26.
Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. For the world hasteth fast to pass away.
The earth hasteth what? Fast to pass away. Which means what? This is temporal. And because we're subjected to our time and space, we don't realize how quick our redemption will come. We're just caught up into today, viewing things based on our personal circumstance. But with the Most High, he can see the whole thing. He can see the beginning right now, and he can see the ending right now. So if we view the earth like the Most High viewed it, you know what? There will be less melancholy, less frustration. See? He says it's your outlook. It's how you view things. If you're caught up into all the negativity, you don't see the full plan. Hence, this is why, brothers and sisters, the enemy continually to inundate us with negativity and issues. And that when you see news, it's all bad news. It's your outlook, how you've been conditioned to see the earth. How you've been conditioned. Listen to this clearly. Come on.
For the world hasteth fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come.
They cannot even comprehend the rewards that I have for them. Because the devil won't tell them what's at the end of this if they endure. If they stand with my law. Satan on earth, because the earth is given to the hand of the wicked for a time, isn't telling the people their rewards. For doing what? For actually rejecting the wiles of the devil. They don't teach that down there, Ezra. It's not in Satan's position to tell us what we'll receive by rejecting him. So they don't tell you. See? Come on.
For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. 28.
Yeah.
As concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee.
He says, now I'm going to answer your question. Come on.
For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come.
The evil is sown, but the destruction have not yet come. That means those who sowed the evil from the beginning, judgment hasn't happened yet. See? Read.
If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good.
Evil must be put down first. See? And then the good will come. But guess what? The evil must fill up a sum. See? There's a time period according to prophecy for how long the Most High will allow this. But they're not telling the people. Now, when he gave us the law, statutes, and commandments, so that we'll be sheltered and hedged by the angels during the time of evil. But the evil will not stop until it has filled up the sum. So the Most High is not going to stop it. He's going to protect those who choose the tree of life. See? He's not going to stop it. Because the Most High is not a man that he should lie. When his words go out, guess what? That's right. It doesn't come back void. And for the judgment of the fallen ones, it tells us in the book of Genesis that their days shall be 120 years. 120 years of jubilees. A jubilee is 50. 50 times 120 is 6,000 years before the judgment. From the time of Adam. It would take 6,000 years for the evil to fill up the sum. 6,000 years and then the judgment. Folks, we're at the end of it. What Ezra was crying about and asking to see is the time we're living in right now. See? He says, I'm not going to just stop all of creation and give you paradise right now, because that would be against the judgment I gave in the beginning for the fallen ones. They would have a certain amount of time before judgment. It took 6,000 years from heaven to make all we see up until Adam and Eve and the garden. So because of sin, it's going to take the same amount of time before paradise. So we're caught up into the moments and seeing all the evil and saying that there is no God. No, this is proof there is a God. That the evil, and he loved us so that he did what? He sent his law through four gates to give it to us, to hedge us while the evil is multiplying. That's how much he loves us. And he gave us spiritual tools to fight against the devil with the knowledge of whom we're fighting against. Finish reading all the way down to 42, Elder Lloyd.
Yes, sir. Verse 30. For the grain of evil seed have been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning.
Come on.
And how much ungodliness hath it brought forth up until this time? And how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed have brought forth. And when the heirs shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill?
Come on.
Then I answered and said, How? And when shall these things come to pass?
How and when shall these things come to pass?
Wherefore are our years few and evil? And he answered me, saying, Do not thou hasten above the most highest, for thy haste is in vain to be above him.
He says you can't haste before the Most High. Right? Just because we desire freedom and desire judgment, we're not the Most High. The Most High thoughts are not our thoughts. Neither his ways are our ways. He has a plan for those who can endure through this. See? He's like, well, no. I'm going to try my people like gold in the fire. They will be tried through this. And if they choose the evil and tap into the tree of good and evil to satisfy themselves, that's their choice. You can't blame me for that. And that's what I gave them the law. And then when the law wasn't enough, I sent my son. So mankind is without excuse. Don't try to pressure the Most High to bring something forth when it's in our power to do what's right, to bring forth the kingdom in earth with how we interact with one another. And this is what this is what the Most High was showing. My people have the power if they want it. If they're willing to partake of this tree of righteousness and be protected, they'll come together, I'll protect them, and they'll see the reward for endurance. So here it is. Even the prophets, brothers and sisters, tried to put pressure on the Most High to hurry this thing up. Like, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I gave them, their mother and father, I gave their mother and father everything. And they had a choice. Well, guess what? So do their children. So obviously it doesn't work just giving children something. Okay? The curiosity will still send them out in the world somewhere. So the whole deal is, you know what? They have to choose me. If they want to be protected, they must choose me for the protection. And I'll send the angels to minister unto them. But not before that. I'm not rushing anything. So this is what the Most High was telling the prophets. The prophets loved us so much, Israel. He was like, Most High, judge the nations right now. Kill them off, and surely our people will come back to you. Just kill off the other nations. You have the power to do so. Yeah, I do have the power to do so, right? I delivered them out of Egypt and destroyed all the nations in their wake. And they still went off. No, we're not doing it like that no more. Every individual is going to have to choose me. It's going to be an individual decision. I saved the whole nation, destroyed Egypt and every nation in their wake, and they still chose wrong. See? Finish reading, come on.
34. And he answered me, saying, do not thou hasten above the highest.
Come on.
For thy haste is in vain to be above him, for thou hast much exceeded. Did not the souls also of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers, saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward? And unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seeds is filled in you, for he hath weighed the world in the balance. By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. And he doeth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled.
He measured the amount of time that Satan and the fallen ones would have the rule in this earth, will have the power to tempt man. Period. And the Most High isn't going to change that. So what must we do, knowing that he's not going to rush it strictly for us? We must understand the power of spiritual warfare. We must understand what I would say would be the laws of engagement. The laws of engagement. We got to understand the orbiting demons that came from the fallen ones, and how to withstand, banish them, and to protect ourselves from them. And how to walk in the Most High's law, which is the tree of life. Now, but before we can do that, we must understand the spirit, that malignant root that came with what? The sin of Adam and Eve. The spirit within. That's why I titled this, The Demon Within. We can always point out what's out there and what's negative, but it's very seldom we look into ourselves and say, you know what? This isn't right in me. Right? So we're going to go into a few healing scriptures to show you the power of Christ, the power of the healer, and the knowledge he bestowed on the disciples to heal. Let's go to Matthew 10 first, Elder Lawyer. Matter of fact, let's go to Matthew 9, 32 through 35.
All right. St. Matthew chapter 9, verse number 32.
Matter of fact, start at 8 and 16. There's so many. I'm going to do it in order.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Luke 6 and 17.
All right.
Luke 6, 17 through 19. Follow me there.
St. Luke chapter 6 verse 17.
Come on.
And he came down with them and stood in the plain, and the company of his disciples, and a great multitude of the people out of all Judea and Jerusalem, and from the sea coast of Tyre and Zidon, which came to hear him, and to be healed of their diseases, and they that were vexed with unclean spirits, and they were healed.
Look at that. See, this is why the power structure wanted Christ gone. Speak of the Pharisees, scribes, and even the Roman Empire. Because what? A sick population is a controlled population. See? Sicknesses is engineered in our world. They've always been engineered. Folks, before we had laboratories testing diseases and all that we're hearing today, like we hear about the laboratory that was in Wuhan, China and all that, the sorcerers would try to cook up diseases to control or as a form of biological warfare used by the Roman Empire. They've always used sicknesses. So Christ had the power to get rid of those spirits, understanding their true origin. That was a threat to what? The industry. government control. Sickness is how demons put mankind under subjection. See? So Christ was healing people, folks. Come on, finish reading. What verse you at?
Verse 19. And the whole multitude sought to touch him, for there went virtue out of him, and he healed them all.
There went virtue out of him. Virtue. And it healed them all. Now just imagine how many so-called witch doctors and pharmacists or so-called what they called back there, scientists or whatever they want to call themselves. Healers. Look how many people at this time Christ put out of business. Just imagine. Someone has cancer, someone has asthma, someone has mental disorders, whatever the case is, and there's a man walking around through virtue, understanding that at the core, brothers and sisters, of that sickness is a demon, which can be cast out at any time. What would the pharmaceuticals do if that was so? They would seek to kill him. That means there's no drugstores anywhere. Nothing. It doesn't matter what disease they say is out there, because he has the name of these spirits and know exactly their true origin. Nephilim. Hey, let me show y'all something, brothers and sisters. Let me show y'all something here. One second. What am I showing you here? Brothers and sisters, what you see here is an ancient spirit that's been taught throughout Greek mythology and different in India concerning a spirit that have power over sicknesses and all that in hell. Booer is a spirit that appears in the 16th century. Grimoire Pseudomonarchia, Demania, and its derivatives, where he is described as the great president of hell. Having 50 legions of demons under his command, he appears when the sun is in Sagittarius, like Chiron, the chief of the centaur of Greek mythology. Logic in the virtues of all herbs and plants, and it's also capable of healing all infirmities, especially of men, and bestow what? Good familiars. Now, why am I going here? Because right under a picture of me and Lawyer, one of the doctors put some of the stuff that's being put in people. They squirted it out on a petri dish, and it began to form in the likeness of a spider. Some of the stuff they're putting in people. I have the video. I'm going to show the video tomorrow where they started, and this stuff started forming into what appears to be a demon. So what are they putting in people? See, and this is why they don't want people reading the Bible. They don't want people to understand spiritual warfare. Now that the truth has come that we're the children of Israel in the Spirit of Christ, they know that eventually, if we continue down this path, the power of healing comes with what? The doctrine. So they're rushing to get something in people to try to withstand the power of healing. So it doesn't stop with us being Israelites, folks. Because as you can see, we began to study. The Most High began to open up understanding on the invisible, the real fight. And how eventually the power of healing would begin to what? Show itself within the earth under Christ's ministries. That's right. A doctor sprayed some of the stuff on a hit in front of a microscope. And this stuff started forming together on the Petri dish. And they couldn't believe what they were seeing, folks. No telling what's in these people. But I digress. I just wanted to show you that I'm going to tell you right now, the pharmaceuticals are rushing to get something in people, and people don't even realize what it is. Why? They don't have the history of what drove Noah's children mad after the flood. Demonic attacks. What verse? You at the 19th verse of the Lord?
Yeah, we finished that out.
Let's now go to Matthew 4 and 23 through 25.
Matthew 4 and 23.
Yeah.
And Yeshua went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing all manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people.
That's Christ's ministry, folks. Healing what?
All manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people.
Among the people. Sicknesses are being distributed, folks, through food and drugs. Demons, believe it or not, that's the vehicle they're using for demons today. See? So this is why when I'm talking to somebody, I'll pray with them. I'm dealing with this or I'm dealing with that. Sometimes I'm sitting in my car and I'm talking to people, I pray with them. But sometimes people get offended. Why? Because why? It's not like the Christian church where you're going to come to us for a prayer and something magically disappears. We understand that there was an entry point of the sickness you're asking help with. Mm-hmm. And this is where people get offended. Okay? Because they don't like to be transparent and say, well, it's this that led to my sickness. And at one time there was doctor-patient privacy knowing this. But the reality is it could have happened through a drug. It could have happened through this, happened through that. And now you're coming with a prayer for a sickness that may reoccur if we don't get to the origin of it. See? And that's the point. You must get to the origin of the sickness because it's a demon there that must be cast out so that you're not coming every year with the same issue. You have what? You can have people who didn't know any better and was taking birth controls. And was putting stuff in their body that only their doctor knew. But now it's turning out as you got older, when your immune system went down, you're getting blood clots and all these other things. That's a byproduct of what? The things we did in our youth. See? But then we are ashamed of some of those things, so we'll hide it, not realizing we're hiding the demon. And in order to cast out the spirit, we must identify the spirit. That's the cause of the sickness. It could have been you eating pork. Man, wait till you see what I'm going in tomorrow on pork. Oh my goodness. Satan's chosen beast for sacrifice, folks. So all in all, folks, every sickness has a demon behind it. Hence the reason they wanted to get something in our children. So we're not fighting the miseducation of our children alone. We're fighting them being chemically induced and drugged on top of the programming they're doing against their upbringing. Satan knew a time would come where we would figure out we were Israelites and that it wouldn't stop there. It's not just finding the law and just following the law. No, it's us actually understanding the celestial law and the origin of evil to cast out demons. What you got, Elder Lloyd?
Matthew 4, with verse 24. And his fame went throughout all Syria, and they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with diverse diseases and torments, and those who were possessed with devils, and those which were lunatic, and those that had palsy, and he healed them.
Look at that, lunatic, mental illness. Now, let me tell you, Christ would shut the pharmaceuticals down. Because why? See, the governments love the pharmaceutical because it's a form of what? Population control. You must make the people weak and controllable. There would be no drugstores. This would put let me tell you, the majority of the whole doctor thing with East Indians coming over to be doctors, Asians coming over to be doctors, and now I'm starting to see that this was systematic. They knew that the whole earth would be what? Sick. Because they have caused the sicknesses as a form of control. And the evildoers, the fallen ones who are behind this and their children, the Nephilim, loves it because why? They set a system in which their children, the giants, the Nephilim, the demons, could have their choice of bodies to live through. A whole society of demon-possessed people. Finish reading, Elder Lloyd.
25. And there followed him great multitudes of people from Galilee, and from the Decapolis, and from Jerusalem, and from Judea, and from beyond Jordan.
Exactly. Now I'm going to show you how Christ deal with things, right? Somebody with no knowledge of this would go to a doctor and they would put some machines on him and says, well, you have high blood pressure. You need to take this statin. Without people actually looking at the side effects of those statins and what they can do to you. Right? Your blood pressure is low, but you're dying. So I don't want an artificial blood pressure reading. I don't want a chemically induced blood pressure reading. I want to live my life temperate, without fear, without harm, a righteous life, and surround myself with calm people so that my blood pressure don't shoot up. Right? So they made a natural reaction a sickness. So if I went to Christ, and Christ would be like, well, listen, these are the things that are running your blood pressure up. It's your life. You need to stop doing this and stop doing this and stop doing that. Stop eating that. Stop acting that way. Stop getting into things that trigger you and cause issues where your blood pressure is sky high. Get your life together. There's no pill you can take that's going to get your pressure together. So the disciples would get to the root of the issue. Not looking at some reading, some numbers and giving you a pill for it. That's stupid. Oh man, I got diabetes. No. You know what you got? You got lazy. You got lazy. You became gluttonous. You stopped watching what you were eating. Christ would give us the dietary law and say, stop eating wrong and eat to live. Don't think there's something you can take for bad habits. Oh yeah, I've been shooting this stuff up in me and now I can't feel my feet. I got diabetes. No, you don't. You got the side effects of synthetic insulin. That's the demon that's killing you. Well, why? And then, well, I don't know what to do. You know why you don't know what to do? Because in that also is something that is causing dizziness and delusion. So even if you wanted to point to it, you can't, because it's affecting your brain. That's a demon. See, this is why they wouldn't want those in Christ teaching about these sicknesses, because we understand the real purpose behind all of it. Demon possession, so they can use your body, then kill you all for depopulation. Only to find another body, a younger body. There you go. All right? Elder Lawyer, let's get through them. Let's go to Matthew 8 and 16 through 17.
Matthew 8, verse 16.
Come on.
When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses.
Boy, the pharmaceutical companies would just hate Christ, wouldn't they? Because what? He would set us free from sickness and let us know that it's about our lifestyle and how we're operating. We're not sitting back talking about, I'm on my journey. No, you ain't on. I don't hear that journey crap no more. Do what's right and just do what the Most High say. Not accept me the way I am because I'm on my journey. No. The journey is the law, statutes, and commandments of God. We only get one body. And with this body, it's the temple of God that we must keep whole. Stop thinking there's some person you go to and get a pill or get this or get that to correct what we know we broke through lifestyle, through being irresponsible or lazy, allowing a demon to come in and overtake our body to use us. There's no pill for that. Finish reading.
28. And when he was come to the other side, into the country of the Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way.
Come on.
And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Yeshua, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? And there was a good way far off from them, and herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said unto them, Go. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters.
Look at that. Now, what did the Spirit say to Christ? Read it.
Verse 29, And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Yeshua, thou Son of God?
They recognize Christ. What have thou to do with us? They recognize the power to bind spirits and were afraid. They were afraid. So this is what the evil doers do, the Satanist priests of this earth through Hollywood. They'll play all these scary movies so that you become afraid of them. See? When really in Christ, they are afraid of you. By living a pious and righteous and virtuous life, through the Holy Spirit and the Most High in Christ's name, you have the power to move these spirits. It's a frequency. And when you say the Most High Christ's name, it moves them. It's like a pulse goes out and they'll have to back up just like that. But y'all don't know about that power. You know why you don't know about it? Because they purposely omitted God's name out of the earth. And Christ's name out of the earth. So that they can stay in earth, tormenting the children of God. It's a frequency, folks. It's the name that Lucifer heard before what? The heavenly throne. When the sons of God would sing before the Most High each morning, they sung his name, holy, holy, and they sung his name every morning. A vibration that all we see was made out of. So these spirits know, I can't touch this guy, right? What have you have to do with us? Have you did what? Read it, Elder Lawyer.
Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?
Did you come to torment us before our time? Implying that Christ has the power to banish them where their fathers are bound in hell. And it also implies that they know that they can only do this for a certain number of years before a judgment. That there's a time that the Most High will stop them. See? Now, we are working to get on the right side of this power so that these demons have no control or power over us. The first thing we have to realize that we cannot yield our bodies to them. There cannot be any intrusion where they'll put some substance in us that will alter our being, that will give these demons access. Where are you, Elder Lawyer?
Jumping to verse number 33.
Read it.
It says here, and they that kept them fled and went their ways into the city and told everything and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils.
They told people everything. Like, yo, I went to this doctor, was dealing with it for years, went to that doctor, dealing with it for years, and no one can heal it. This man have the power to do what? Isolate the spirit of sickness and cast it out. Sicknesses are a demon. Now, folks, this is how we give power over to the sickness. I'm going to show you how we do it. Where we become a slave to the sickness and believe that it's incurable. Well, I must do this. My doctor said, if I don't do this, I'm going to die. But what? You're not rationalizing with your real-time observation that those that are listening to the doctors are dying. The people that are listening to the doctors are dying. So it first starts with what? Lowering your belief system by having you believe that you are subjected to a sickness. And that sickness takes preeminence over your health and not the Almighty. Already there's a ceiling. There's already you being cut off for how much you can go, how much your body can do based on this restriction that you've done to yourself by believing them. Everything is temporal. And be like, well, listen, I'm not me. I'm not going to be on some drug for the rest of my life. I'm not going to have power over me. We don't go into things with that mentality and say, I'm going to get my body together. I'm going to get my spirit together. I'm not going to let this sickness, I'm not going to own this sickness as something I have to deal with for the rest of my life. See? Listen to what I'm saying. Last verse of the Lord.
Verse number...
Read 34 again, and then we're going to just take a short break, and then I'm going to go into how we battle, how we must operate to understand how not to let the spirits in. Right?
Mm-hmm. Verse 34.
Read it.
And behold, the whole city came out to meet Yeshua, and when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coast.
And they besought him how what?
It says, and behold, the whole city came out to meet Yeshua, and when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coast.
That he would depart out of their coast. Hold on 1 second, and we'll be right back dealing with overcoming the demon within. One moment. Where's the academy at? One moment. There it is. The Bible. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. That's right, the Hebrew and Bible Academy. And don't forget, it's week 3 of the Hebrew and Bible Academy where we will be going into, that's right, the promised seed. We're going to also take a special look at the religion of the Amorites, Satan's seed, fighting against the blessed seed of Abraham, who we are. You don't want to miss this tomorrow. The promised seed, where we'll be bringing forth new history, new information that have never been taught in the academy, so make sure you're there. If this interests you, you can always go to historytimes.org, get in for week 3, and we'll make sure you get the 2 weeks you've missed. So you'll catch right up. We're still at the beginning of this, so. All right. Hebrew and Bible Academy, come on in. All right. 1 second. Once Elder Lawyer come, we'll just finish up. All right. All right. Okay, he's coming now. It's not too late to join the academy. No, it isn't. All right, it's not too late. We're only in week 3, which means you've only missed 2 lessons, 2 weeks. So if you join, we'll make sure you receive all the information that was missed. Okay, we'll make sure you get all of it. All right, the Hebrew, the news, which is very important, as well as the lessons. And being that we're fairly new in this, you probably want to get in as soon as possible by going to historytimes.org, okay? Now, some people are concerned with the fact that they're busy on Sundays, the only day they have to do something, and on whether or not they can enroll in fear that they would miss the academy for Sundays. Well, you don't have to worry about that, because we'll give you a link where you can view the video at any time you would like, okay? So don't worry about if the Sundays are yours and that's your day off. I understand that. You can always use your link to catch up during the week. So you're still not missing the academy, okay? All right, let's jump right in, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
More on Christ. Let's go to Matthew 10 and then Matthew 17.
Yes, sir. Matthew 10, verse 1.
Yeah.
And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples came, or his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
And this is what the enemy fears. Because through the truth also come the power or knowledge of sicknesses. Sicknesses' origins is rooted in demonology. Demons, the fallen ones. So they would use drugs to what? To get access to people. See? Folks, and understand this is why in our neighborhoods, they would always push some form of drug. At one point, it was heroin. And then it was later on marijuana, crack, and others, Percocets, whatever, because this is how spirits gain entry, which eventually causes sickness and death. And through this, our neighborhoods have become riddled with demons. Okay? Now they do it on that side, and they do it on the pharmaceutical side too. They'll approve all these drugs that have side effects. And usually the side effects are no different than what we're reading concerning what? The actions of demons Christ was casting out. Lunatic, delusional, dizzy, suicidal thoughts, sleepwalking. So they're telling you that they're giving you a drug for this, but then you start exhibiting side effects which are demon possession. So I would say always don't look at what you're going to the doctor for concerning your illness. Always look at what are the side effects of the drug they're giving you for your illness. Because that's really what it's for. Mm-hmm. That's what they want to happen. See? So never look like we know what the side effects of crack is. Look at our neighborhoods. We know the side effects of that. Where a demon totally takes over your body when you're thinking about nothing but getting high. Right? That's a side effect. Right? We know about the exody side effects of these sexualized ritualistic doses of medications they're given, or these doses of street drugs they're giving people. That starts off with you having a good time while you're young, but then when you look at them 5-6 years down the line, they are walking zombies. So I say, and this is what I do when I speak to people, when they tell me they're going through things, usually I ask them, are you taking any drugs? Have you looked into the side effects of those drugs? Because really that's what you're taking. What you are exhibiting to all of us are the side effects that's in a drug that you think is helping you. See, always look at the side effects first, because that's where the demon activity is usually outright in front. You done sitting there popping demons all night. Every 6 hours a demon. Okay, Beelzebub today. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Abaddon, I'll do Abaddon in 4 hours. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, now. Elroy, I need you to now go to real quick Galatia 5 and 16.
All right.
Galatia 5 and 16, and we're going to read that down to 26. And I need you to go to where it says in the Apocrypha, where it says, where someone like a straight bull straying alone. I'm going to need that.
All The book of Galatians 5 and 16.
Now, I'm going to tell you, a lot of what we're saying right now, brothers and sisters, don't expect to hear this in a normal Christian church or a place that call themselves to be teaching Christ. Because sicknesses is a reoccurring business for them. They need people sick and coming up in there with all these issues so that they can now, this is what they do. They can charge people for what they're doing. Yeah, I can heal you and all that, but sickness is a business that's been keeping churches in business for the longest. Where they're just praying over you, laying hands on you, but they're not giving you the origin of the fact that you probably just popped the demon you're asking me to pray over you for 3 hours ago. Satan gets to the. I'm gonna tell you right now. This is how Satan is in the root of these churches. He's in the root of these churches, brothers and sisters. Because a preacher isn't supposed to just be praying over you without realizing what happened, where the demon comes from. Okay? The systemic demon possession within the communities are not actually being focused upon. Right? They'll sit there, they'll push the drugs up in the churches. And I'm like, what Christ are they reading about here? Mm-hmm. Christ is healing, and when you go into a church, the whole church is sick. What's wrong with this picture? Because you know why? If the preacher did tell people the truth, he feared that they would be offended. But then they're not teaching people the origin of offenses. It's a demon. See? Elder Lawyer, let's go. Let's go to Galatians 5 and 16.
Galatians 5 and 16.
Yes.
This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. The lust of the flesh was one of the curses that came with what? Adam and Eve eating the tree of good and evil. I mentioned it earlier. Human nature. Human nature is the pursuit for personal pleasures and personal gratifications. It's not about what's going to satisfy you. Right? It's not about that. You're not really, I would state, introducing or showing yourself as a person first to say, it's about what I'm going to get out of this. Okay? This is about me. It's about my happiness. When you hear this crap, it's about my truth. I'm looking right. I'm like, they go a demon right there. What's your truth? No, what you're saying is you created your own truth so that no one can judge your wickedness. No, it don't work like that. That's self-gratification. Now, because truth is absolute. That's not an individual perception or idea. Now they done came up with a thing where now no one can correct anyone. Why? Because my evil life is my truth. Mm-hmm. So it says, do what? Read it.
This I say then, walk in the Spirit.
Walk in the Spirit.
And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Now what's walking in the Spirit? With the knowledge of God's law. The Spirit of truth. And you shall not fulfill what?
The lust of the flesh.
Because now with the knowledge of the law, you now can say what? To sin. No. You're walking in the Spirit. And with the law, you now have the power of no. Thou shalt not do this. Thou shalt not do that. Thou shalt. This is what you're leading with now. You're walking in the Spirit. Right? Read.
17. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit.
This is what Adam and Eve took. It heightened the flesh to what? Read.
For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit.
And it lusteth against the Spirit. So what's happening is it's working on the outside of the body to suppress the spirit that would lead us into Christ's path. See? There's a fight going on within us, in which the disciples or Paul is identifying here. Because he had these same battles. There's not one person in this earth that doesn't. But we're not isolating. We're not identifying the negative effects of this. Because why? Because this is the area of within us that gives us pleasure. So we want to ignore that. Because why? It makes us feel good. Read.
For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other.
Contrary one to another. Come on.
So that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
Because, and it end up where we're not doing the things that we know we're supposed to do. Not just for the Most High, but for ourselves. And this is why I went into initially showing you the origin of what these spirits do. They cause offense, attack, they do battle. They eat but are never satisfied. So you can actually visualize what a demon looks like or acts like on the outside of us. And when you understand it, now we can accept it because we're not talking about ourselves. We're not just judging ourselves. We're looking at the actions of a demon. See? That's why I wanted to show you the origin of demons first so that we can recognize what's in us. Because when we lust after the flesh, they get a body, and we began to inordinately begin to do what the demons want to do, opposed to what Christ would like us to do. That's that battle. And then we'll make an excuse that we think that people should accept to why we're killing and destroying ourselves. Well, I'm doing this because when I was raised, my mother and father didn't say this or do that. We'll go there. Or I feel sorry for you, so I'm not going to tell you that what's in you is a destructive behavior. I can't tell you that because something happened that none of us can change. I got to accept this destructive behavior. Oh, well, sometimes I worry and my kids are doing whatever and I'm just eating my sorrows away and I'm on my journey because, even though I can't even walk up the street because my body isn't, I'm weighing my skeleton down. And then people will look at what you're saying, but you're dying. See, you're dying. Because the Spirit is saying, listen to what I'm saying and distract this person from the fact that I'm killing him or I'm killing her. When really, when you're overeating, I'm going to say that again, that's a demon that's trying to fulfill an appetite that's thousands and thousands of years old. It's an ancient demon that's trying to fill itself and is never satisfied. And when you die, it's going to find someone else. So when it says, read that first part again, other lawyer.
For the flesh lusteth against the spirit.
The flesh lusteth against the spirit. The flesh want to eat because it tastes good. And then when really that's what it is. I like food. But when people start talking to you about it and saying, well, listen, if you're getting a little over the threshold here. Oh no, I'm worried. I'm this, that, and the other. No, it's you like food. It's not you eating your sorrows away and all of that. Something is in you that's overeating and killing your body, leading to sicknesses. And the spirit, and guess what? That spirit lusteth against the spirit that the Most High gave you. So it's up to me to say, you know what? In Christ, I'm going to get full discipline and I'm not on no journey. I'm starting the day, follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to get my body right. I'm going to sweat this stuff out of me. And when food is calling me, I'm going to eat just enough. Just enough. I will not overeat. I'll have a small portion, which gives me a satisfaction of taste, but there's a discipline, because I'm not going to turn into a giant, a Nephilim. And I'm not going to do it. Because why? The Most High loved my temple. He loved me the way he made me, and I only get one of these. And I'm not going to make no excuse to why I feed the demon. And we can put that in any area. When it comes to an over appetite of what? Of physical intimacy. When that's driving your mind day and night. When that's at the forefront of trying to satisfy yourself intimately. Also, that's a spirit. Undisciplined. This is what the Nephilim was doing before the flood, and the law gives us knowledge of that when it says, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that. See? Finish reading, other way.
For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh.
Come on.
And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led by the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh...
Now when it says, when you're led by the Spirit, you're not under the law. Now, does that mean the law is not done away with? No. That means you're already following the law because you're disciplined. It's in your heart now. You're no longer doing it because somebody is saying, well, guess what? You're going to get disciplined. You're going to get judged. You're no longer doing it in fear. You're doing it because it's life. So you're no longer under that law. You know why? Because you're already following it with a disciplined life, following the laws of God. So no, if a whoremonger stop whoremongering and get married and do what's right, he's no longer under the law or the judgment for whoremongering. He repented. He's no longer under that law. See, and this is what the Christians, how they should be teaching this. If you recognize the area that was leading to sickness and death, and you're overcome that sickness and death by living a better life, you're no longer under the judgment that would have came if you continued in that life. See? You got it? Finish reading.
19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these.
Now it says the what?
The works of the flesh, which are manifest. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these.
Which are these? These are the things that the Nephilim seizes. This is when you know a demon is present in your members. What?
Adultery.
Adultery.
Fornication.
Fornication.
Uncleanness.
Uncleanness.
Lasciviousness.
When it says uncleanness, understand. Uncleanness can show itself in many ways. Not just it starts with what you put in your body. Somebody to eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. That's just one thing. People that put in things without realizing what's in it, whether it be a needle or whatever the case is, without even checking. That's only an unclean person would let anything in their body without checking first. Another way of identifying an unclean person. Someone who don't take care of themselves, their hygiene. Who is not cognitive of how they're coming off negatively to another person by not keeping up their hygiene. They'll sit there and talk in front of you and whatever, and it's like, yo, that ain't right. Sitting there just bringing out the green heat up on you. And you say like, yo, no, that's unclean. You supposed to took some mouthwash and all that and got with that. Okay? You can't have body odor in front of other people. This is how demons operate. Demons are, one thing, they're odorous. Someone that don't even have enough patience and love for themselves to actually just breathe in their hand to see what's happening, to see if they're imposing on someone else. I know a lot of y'all might be laughing, but this is how you recognize on lower level negative activity going on. When people are neglecting themselves. Hence what Christ ran into when he seen this guy. They had to move him out in the graveyard somewhere, put chains on this guy because this dude didn't want to wash up. He was just all over the place. That's how you recognize demon possession. How many people have seen homeless people out there talking to themselves, and there's a distinct stench on these people? Okay, that's what it is. The demon has taken over the person, and their spirit no longer has power. So it starts off subtle, brothers and sisters. It starts off subtle, where you don't recognize it at first, but then this is why our parents used to get up on certain things. Our parents used to be like, yo, no. Hit that shower. Get yourself together. You're not going out. It's not that we had any place to go. It was about cleanliness is godliness. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Lasciviousness.
Lasciviousness.
Idolatry.
Idolatry.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft.
Hatred.
Now, these are all the things that we've accepted in our lives at some point in our lives living here. Sitting there letting our children look at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs where there's this witch running around and all that. Accepting witchcraft. And then turn it where now the witches are good now. Witchcraft. These are how demons enter. Read.
Hatred.
Hatred.
Variance.
Now, hatred is deep. Because hatred comes with a certain level of obsession. Hatred is the reverse of love. So obviously it starts with someone you probably adored or had some level of adoration for. And it turns to hate. Okay? There's an old saying out there, you can't really hate someone that you didn't love. It's an old saying. That's one of the most deadliest spirits that are out there. A love that turned to hate. Because now it becomes obsession. Where it's not even about your walk with the Most High and getting yourself together. It's vengeance in your eyes against another fellow man or woman. Read.
Variance. Emulations.
Variance and emulations. People who would always look for division. Now, usually these are the people who are always trying to point out what's wrong. Not what's right. Not the blessings that would come from a scenario. They'll come in searching for something to fail or go wrong. Why? It's a projection. And what happens, and this is a curse that happens amongst us. We're so used to things going wrong that when we are blessed amongst others, we expect something to go wrong. And that becomes the perspective we take into everything, except expecting a different outcome. Always seeing the wrong in something instead of the blessing in it. That's a curse. Right? Come on.
Wrath. Strife.
Wrath, strife,
Seditions.
seditions,
Heresies.
heresies,
Envyings.
envying other people,
Murders.
murders. Now, folks, this was all the actions of the Nephilim before the flood. These actions is what led to the Most High destroying the earth. Read. drunkenness,
revelings,
revelings,
and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I've told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
Those who do those things will not come in. These are the sick of society. And these I'm turning over to them in the day of judgment. So when you start seeing death all over the place, understand that these are the spirits the Most High is allowing the powers that be in this earth to judge. The witches, the warlocks, the sorcerers, the people that have always caused divisions, the haters. He's bringing forth judgment. See? Why? Because we're at that time that it was spoken of in Genesis. We're at the end of that time where those spirits must be judged. And if they're in you, if they're in the people, those people are going down with them. Where are you, Elder Lawyer?
Verse 22.
Read.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love.
But the fruit of the Spirit is what?
Is love.
This is how we fight evil. Love.
Joy.
Joy. That means we must smile. And I guess what? You know what? So many people are angry because they see when my broadcast start, I may play music, I may sing, I may rejoice. And you know what? There's a lot of people out there that hate that. But I'm like, no, I understand the time. I'm not going to let this world bring me down to its negativity. I'm going to always see the blessings in the Most High's creation and still take full advantage of the blessings of this earth, even through all of this wickedness. And thank the Most High for life. And I'll always celebrate the life He's given us, because why? I can't get back the life of yesterday. Yesterday is gone. So I have to appreciate the moment I'm in, and I'm not going to let no one take that from me. And if singing and whatever we do can bring us joy to help me make some reasoning with all this negative and keep me grounded and appreciating the Most High, I will continue to do so. I will always rejoice. I'll always sing. I'll always appreciate the Most High. And you know what? When I hear people looking at it and being negative about it, I understand what it is. I understand what it is. It's evil spirits. I'm not, in this day, we're supposed to be depressed. We're supposed to be sick. We're supposed to just be straight up angry and mad. But the fruit of the Spirit, this is how you combat that spirit out there. With what? Read it again. Start with love, Elder Lawyer.
Love.
Love.
Joy.
And even when they send comments now, and I'm going to tell you, Rock, I don't even erase the comments no more. When they send certain comments, you know what I do? I respond with love. I respond with, I know you feel that way, and we don't see eye to eye right now. But I still love you, and if you're willing to come in and we can discuss things, I'm open for it. And you know, when I comment like that, it makes them even more frustrated. But then I noticed when I started commenting back like that, they stopped commenting. They're trying to trigger a negative response because they're negative. I'm like, you know what? Nah. Say what you want. I'm going to respond with a blessing. I'm going to tell you after your comment, I love you. Right? Even if you say something bad, go ahead, say what you want about my family, anything else, I still love you. Because if we didn't love our people, we would have stopped a long time ago. See? Read.
Joy.
Joy.
Peace.
Peace.
Long suffering.
Long suffering. That means be patient with our people. They've gone through so much. Let's not just give up on our people. Read.
gentleness,
gentleness,
goodness,
goodness,
faith,
faith,
meekness,
meekness.
temperance.
And folks, everything we're reading is Christ. But through these actions, the Nephilim, the demons, the giants, whoever, they cannot stay in your body long. They'll flee. Why? Especially in the time we live in now, where there's so many hosts that they can easily enter into. But if you're not a person that get angry all the time, you're not frustrated, you don't eat the way they want you to eat, you're disciplined. Even when people try to trigger you, you respond with a blessing. That demon, if something is in you, it has to go. I can't use this body. Drop me off at McDonald's. You go drive by McDonald's, that thing will jump out of your car and go running up in there. That's what goes on. I can't drive me by McDonald's up in there. I'll find somebody up in there. But when you're like this, these spirits cannot stay amongst you. And then this is how you know that a spirit was amongst you. You'll feel lighter. You start to feel happier. There's no dark cloud over you. Now, what you didn't see is by your discipline, following the most law, and not reacting to the negative, the demon had to go. It had to what? Get out of Dodge. You'll feel lighter. Like, man, something changed. Yeah. You don't allow these spirits to gain power over your body anymore. You're in control now. Right? Finish reading.
Meekness,
Meekness,
temperance.
temperance.
Against such there is no law.
Against such there is no law. Read.
And they that are Christ's have crucified the flesh with the affections and lust. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory.
Let us not be desirous of vain glory. Read.
Provoking one another, envying one another.
Let's not provoke one another by envying one another. See? Provoking one another, envying one another. No. We must crucify the old man. Crucify the old man and say, you know what? I'm going to try this different. I'm going to try something new to see. And I'm glad that Elder Gabar did this thing where he says, Elder Ricard, I made a vow where 1 week I'm not going to be angry. I'm like, I'm going to jump into that, because people, with all the calls I get and all that, I can easily be triggered into saying, listen, enough is enough. And realize that there was much clarity that came from me jumping on with him for that week. I'm like, you know what? I like it here. I'm going to continue here. I'm going to not let phone calls and different things come in to move my spirit left, to make me angry with the pressures of this world, with all that's going on. I'm going to respond counter with a blessing regardless of what I hear and what happens. And you know what? It works. And here's the scriptures where we can overcome the demon within. Getting angry quick, getting triggered quick. Those are demons. Now, Elder Lawyer, did you stopped at the 26th verse?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Ephesians 5 and 8. Almost done. Ephesians 5 and 8.
Ephesians 5, verse 8.
Now stay, because there's a few things that I'm going to bring out that's clearly needed to overcome demons and spirits within that would drag us to their judgment. Drag us to their judgment. Elder Lawyer, I need you to real quick before that, let's get the stray bull going along. Because I mentioned earlier that Satan what they would do is they cause these offenses, these spirits, so that they can have you for themselves. Here's someone that's always dealing. Every time you're around these people, they're pointing out what's wrong. These are the people that no matter what you do, they cannot be happy. You'll go to the restaurant with them and they start stirring and saying, well, hold up, my straw isn't long enough. What's going on here? Look, that waiter, he's looking at me a certain type of way. And you're sitting around with people and they always pointing out what's wrong. Can you take this back? It ain't warm enough. Everything is wrong. Totally destroying the experience. The experience is the family being together. That's the experience. Beholding food as a sacrifice, something had to die to nourish you that day. Right? So instead of taking in the experience of that moment, of that atmosphere, which is positive, you'll have a person where they cannot get anything good out of the experience. That's wrong. That's a demon. So what the food isn't all perfect or whatever the case is. The gathering is why we're here. And we tend to lose focus of that. So then you'll make it, and then the person will get upset where they heard about the same people going out, yet they weren't invited. Why? Because no one wants to destroy an experience that should have made all of us happy. So we have to be mindful of what we bring or take away from an experience. No one wants to be around a person where everything that comes out of their mouth is complaining about something. There's nothing wrong with everything else. Something wrong with how you are observing things. You cannot be happy. And that's not other people's problem. It's something we have to fix and say, you know what? If I said nothing at all, this would be a more enjoyable experience for me. And it may be the first time I've actually sat down with people and enjoyed them. I'm talking about overcoming the demon that's within people. No one can be around a person that complains about everything, and that's written of in scripture that it's a spirit that got you this way so that they can have you for themselves. All the way to the point where a phone call is had and someone hear about you somewhere by yourself and something happened that if under certain circumstances you would have had some level of protection, but that spirit lured you separate from those who could help you. Let's read it real quick, Elder Lawyer.
Sirach 6:2.
Read.
Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces.
Read that again.
Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart.
Extol not thyself in the counsel of your own heart. This is what I think is right. This is what I want to do. See? Read.
That thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull strain alone.
That your what?
That thy soul be not torn in pieces
That
as
your
a bull.
soul be not torn in pieces as a what?
As a bull strain alone.
As a bull straying alone. Folks, do you notice when you go see bulls, they got the bull ring in their nose to try to stop them? Because why? They're uncontrollable, or you would have to put that bull, that stag, you have to put that bull in a portion of a gate by itself or cage it by itself. Because when you let it out, it's looking to charge and looking to see who. You can't sit and eat dinner with a person where they're just bull rushing you. So it says, extol not thyself in your own counsel. to a point where no one can tell you anything, when really they're giving you critical what? Criticism because they love you. That there are parts of your personality that if they could just be a part of that would be constructive and make for a loving relationship. See? But it tell you that, read it again, other lawyer.
Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull straying alone.
As a bull straying alone. Another thing we deal with, man, I never liked a person like that. I never. No, you just not, you never really got over whatever happened in the past. Where even though whatever you're viewing with that person could have been wrong, that's a relationship that could have been mended through the Spirit of Christ. See? And we find ourselves alone, guess what? The problem isn't all the relationships or the people, the relationships lost with all the people we've interacted with. The problem isn't them. If you are alone, the problem is you. And I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but guess what? We must accept that. Knowing that, yeah, you are alone, but you really aren't. There's a spirit that separated you from all the people who cared and would have helped you in a time of need. It's in you. That's the Nephilims, that's the demon's job, is to separate you from everyone else and have you by yourself so that no one comes with a remedy to recognize the demon to cast it out. See? What that demon fears is that one day, one who belongs to Christ will be next to you and looking at you and recognizing the spirit to have the conversation that gets to the origin of when the demon entered. Only for you to recognize you're not alone. And where two or more are gathered, you and that spirit of Christ, that demon goes out. So a demon's prime position is to make loners so that he can have the body for himself. And have you celebrate being alone as if it's normal. A lot of people can't take my strong spirit, or a lot of people can't accept I'm different. You ain't different. There's nothing common in man. You got a demon. Anytime you're entering the conversation with many people can't accept certain things, that implies something is there that you've recognized that you're not going to change. Right? The demon within. Let's finish reading, Elder Lawyer. Read that again.
Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart.
In the counsel of thine own heart.
That thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull straying alone.
As a bull straying alone. You'll be alone and blaming everyone else for it. Right? Elder Lawyer, now let's get, we already did Ephesians, right? 5?
No, sir.
Ephesians 5 and 8. Let's read it.
Ephesians 5 and 8.
Read.
For you were sometimes in darkness, for you were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord.
We were once darkness, but now we're light in the Most High through Christ. Read.
Walk as children of light.
Walk like children of light. Be happy, grateful. Even though things might not turn out personally for you that you would like, that you desire, that's okay. That's okay too. That was your desire. But maybe the Most High wanted something better for you or different for you. See? Some of us get frustrated because we had our sights on something or our thoughts of how things will be, and that become our prison. We become disappointed, not realizing the Most High was saving us from ourselves. Walk with light, with love. Be happy. Read.
Verse 9. For the fruit of the Spirit in all goodness and righteousness and truth. Or the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth.
And truth, come on.
Proving what is acceptable unto the Lord.
That's the whole thing. Proving what's acceptable to Him instead of pleasing ourselves all the time. Getting up and saying, you know what? My day to day, I'm going to please Him. I'm going to do something for Him. Not just carnal pleasures for myself. I could do anything with my day, and you know what? I'm going to do something for Him. See? Read.
Verse 11. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them.
Rather reprove them. Correct them. We're not going to agree with people living outside of the laws of God. Well, I'm not going to have no union or an agreement with perverted lifestyles. It's my position that if my family member or somebody in my family is doing something wrong against the law, I am to reprove them. Now, listen to this. Correct them in the spirit of meekness. Considering how I would like to have been talked to under the same circumstances if I was going through the same thing. Not being judgmental, but reproving or correcting a person. Read.
Verse number 12. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret.
Come on.
But all things are reproved. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by light. For whatsoever doeth make manifest is light.
Come on.
Wherefore he saith, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light.
Wake from what? The dead. Putting down the old man. Living in newness of spirit. And He will give you life. Read.
See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise.
But as wise. Read.
Redeeming the time, because the days are evil.
Because the days are evil. Redeeming the time. Knowing the times we're living in. That we're living in the last days. And that Satan has sent spiritual mercenaries all over the earth to focus on attacking and destroying this truth and those who hold it. And those that hold this truth. Read.
And be not drunk with wine, wherein in excess, or wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit.
Exactly. And let's not look to be drunk with wine, walking around drunk all the time, thinking we can drink our troubles away. It's no time for that. The Bible tells you, wine, for a little for the belly. But we cannot become drunkard, alcoholics. Read.
Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs.
Read that again.
Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs.
Songs, hymns, and spiritual songs. See, that shows it shows the heart of a person. Sing, rejoice, exude positive energy. Let people know, yes, this is the end. But folks, out of the end comes what? The beginning. If we view this earth as the Most High see it, it won't be long before we're in our glory, in which we'll have full power, dominion, life everlasting, immortality. Our children will walk on streets of gold. It's coming here. With no threat of death, no threat of anything happening to them. It's coming here. And it's time that we start appreciating what's coming. The kingdom cometh not by observation. Neither shall someone say the kingdom cometh lo here or there, for the kingdom is within you. Be happy. It's coming. Read.
Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord.
Come on.
Giving thanks always for the things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Yeshua the Christ.
Come on.
Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be subject to their own husbands.
Now the Most High is putting things in order now. You see what the church is doing? It's showing us now how to condemn the sin that came with Adam and Eve's disobedience. See? Now Christ, being the second Adam, through the church, is putting things back in its proper order. Read.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
A protector, a provider, and a protector. And it says, washing her with the water of the word, making sure that your wife is in that book. That is the antidote to the tree of good and evil. See? Instead of blaming a woman for what Eve done and try to make her the scapegoat for all evil, why not give her the tools to overcome the sin of Eve? See? And then by the same token, men, it's our position to make sure that she respect the Most High and the Word. By our example, provider, protector, and the administrator of the Word for the household. See? The whole house is hedged now. Elder Lawyer, now let's go to Romans 6 and 13.
Romans 6 verse 13.
Read.
Neither yield ye yourselves members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin.
See that? Sin gives demons entry. Sin is a transgression of God's law. Now, the people in the conscious community, the first thing they try to do is to cast aspersions against the Bible and claim it was tampered with, this, that, and the other. But what they are ignoring is what? Through the Bible, there's a knowledge of sin. Clear cut. The do's and don'ts. And see, and this is the piece they don't want, because why? They would have to correct themselves in the conscious community. No, you can't just be getting high. You can't be stealing from the people, promising something that you never fulfill. There can't be a thing where you got guys running around all around town dealing with little girls and all that, like Dr. York and others. You can't. This is why they're against the Bible, folks, the whole conscious community. Because why? Through the Bible, it gives the knowledge of sin, the demonology, the origin of demons and how to overcome them. And the only way you can overcome them is through Christ. Well, unfortunately for you in the conscious community, and unfortunate for you who are going against the Bible, guess what? The only remedy for the community you claim to stand for is Christ, who's written of in this Bible. The truth of it. Okay? Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God.
Read.
For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace.
When it says sin shall not have dominion over you, that cannot be your driving force for existence to satisfy your flesh. Read. You at 19?
14.
Read.
But sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace.
Come on.
What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace?
Shall we sin because what? The punitive laws that the judgment of death doesn't happen immediately? Should we sin because after we sin, nothing happens? Well, that's the grace of the Most High that nothing happens immediately. Read.
God forbid.
No. Read.
Know ye not that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey?
That's the key. Don't you know your actions in the earth show forth the God you serve? Whether it be the God in heaven or Satan, the God of earth. Your actions prove what God you truly serve. It's your actions, it's what you do in your body proves the God you revere and respect. Or respect. It's what you do in your body. It proves whether or not you're following the God in heaven or the God of this world. Read.
Know ye not that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness? But God be thanked that even ye, or that ye were the servants of sin.
At one point, we were the servants of sin. Read.
But you have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered you.
Christ's doctrine. Read.
Being then made free from sin, ye became servants of righteousness.
We became servants of the law that was given to Moses now. See? Read.
Verse 19. I speak after the manner of men because of the infirmity of your flesh. For as ye have yielded your members servants to uncleanness and to iniquity unto iniquity.
So at one point we yielded our flesh to iniquity, to do the things that satisfied us, the things we wanted to do. Read.
Even so now yield your members servants to righteousness unto holiness.
So it proves that we've already proven that we can follow something, our flesh. Now we must yield that same spirit that we use to go out and do the things in the world. We must now direct that towards healing our people, healing ourselves in preparation for the kingdom. Read.
Verse 20. For when ye were the servants of sin, ye were free from righteousness.
We didn't care about doing right or wrong. We just only cared about satisfying ourselves. Read.
What fruit had ye then in those things whereof ye are now ashamed?
So look at what came from the things we did in past. Nothing good came from some of the things we did in darkness. A matter of fact, as we got older, we are ashamed of the things we did in our youth. Read.
For the end of those things is death. But now being made free from sin and become servants to God, ye have your fruit unto holiness, and the end everlasting life.
In the end, everlasting life. Immortality. Immortality. Now, last one, Elder Lawyer. Let's go to Romans 7. Let's talk about that war in the flesh, the things that he ought to do. Real quick, let's get straight to it, the 24th verse.
Verse 24. O wretched man that I am.
And this is what Paul said. Because in all Paul's righteousness, he can always identify the negative that came with the sin of Adam and Eve, that malignant root. Oh, wretched man that I am. Not always celebrating the goodness of who you are, but always recognizing the ugly within you. Even if others don't see it, because this is what keeps you what? Humble. Appreciative. See? So no matter how great actions and works Paul did, he was always able to point to the wretched man the Most High did what? Save him from. That malignant root, that evil God that got a propensity to serve his own flesh. He always recognized the person Christ saved him from. And that kept Paul humble. Sometimes we get this truth and we get all this and we forget, we think we've always had this. And we forget the person that Christ saved us from. Like, who do you think you are? You think you were born with this? You think you are everything? No, you're still that wretched man that haven't or hasn't made it yet. It's not the end. See? And a lot of people, they become what? Over-righteous. And think that the truth is so that they can correct everyone else. Well, no, the truth is to correct you first. That's what the truth is for, not for you to sit there with the beam in your eye and always pointing out, trying to see what everyone else is doing and whether or not it's right or wrong. The truth, Christ came so that you can correct the wretched man in you first. To have the wisdom on how to correct others in love and meekness. See? Let's read it.
O wretched man that I am,
O wretched man that I am,
who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
who shall deliver me from the body of this death? Come on.
I thank God through Yeshua the Christ our Lord. So then with me, or with the mind, I serve the law of God.
With the mind, I serve the law of the Almighty, the law that came through four gates. Read.
But with the flesh, the law of sin.
But with the flesh, the law of sin. So now I can do what? I can see both of them clearly. There's no gray areas. I know when it's me operating wrong, and I know the Spirit of the Most High that's given me the power to put that spirit under subjection. But it's first, he can't act like it doesn't exist just because the truth came. See? Just because he's in the truth, he's not going to act like the old man disappeared. It's there. Read.
That's the last verse.
Read that last piece again.
Yes, sir. I thank God through Yeshua the Christ our Lord. So then with the mind, I myself serve the law of God, but with the flesh, the law of sin.
But with the flesh, the law of sin. I have total power and recognition of who I was before Christ came. So in the flesh, I understand when I do something wrong, that what it is. And why must he recognize that? So that he can have the spirit, so when those thoughts come, because he's able to distinguish between the two, measuring sin through the laws of God, he's able to correct his mind before doing a wrong action, before opening a door. See? So it's reminding ourselves daily, not of just the glory of the Most High and the truth and all that, because sometimes we use that as a cover. When we really should be reminding ourselves of that wretched person we were before the truth came. That makes you what? That makes it where you're not judgmental. That you don't think you know more than others. That you're not trying to, you understand, grandize yourself above others. You remember the man Christ or the woman Christ saved us from. See? And by doing so, you can recognize the spirit when your flesh come up and be like, oh, no, I did this 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago. I recognize this spirit. Right? That's who I was before. Because the same desires are still there. But then you have God's law to say, no, door shut. Demon, go to McDonald's. Oh, with that, I'm going to say shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not. Our love go out to all the brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth, and our prayers go out to all of you. Stay strong in the spirit. I hope this particular lesson will give you the tools to fight against spirits, be it on the outside or those that would enter or try to destroy that spirit which is Christ. I hope this lesson will do what? Help all of us overcome all spiritual attacks, including demons within. Shalom. And I'll see you tomorrow in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Bless you.
To Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. Hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord God.